in the Box by Whiteacre Studio. I'm Cynthia, and I'm here to lead you through the process of making a custom canvas bag. It's time. It's time to go to the beach. It's time to go to the farmers markets that are opening back up, and you can create your own design on what I consider to be a really well-sized canvas bag for whatever it is you want to do. This was a sample that I was shown, which gives an example of the painting we're going to be doing and the ideas of how you can put your background on. Basically, this is a two-step process: creating a background and then transferring an image onto the bag. So with that example in mind, I went to my most favorite thing in the world, which is my love of goats, and I created a goat transfer to go onto the canvas bag. So I'm going to show you what's in the box and the kind of choices that you can be making for your bag. The first thing I'm going to show you is not what's in the box, it is the box. You're actually going to cut a piece of your box apart so that you can use that to put inside your canvas bag to keep things from bleeding. So that is something we pre-cut from the box. Inside your box, you're going to have many, many images to choose from. Different categories. If you want to go to the beach, there'll be something for that. I love the honeybees that are really popular right now. There'll be all kinds of images for you to choose from. I'm actually going to work with the honeybees today, so I'm going to set these aside. And you will also receive a color wheel that's going to help you when you're mixing your paint. So we're going to talk about that in a minute. You will get your paint. And basically, you're going to get your primary colors, which is your blue, yellow, and red. You're going to get black. You're going to get white. And you're going to get something in a bottle that you don't want to confuse with your white paint. And when you look close enough, you'll see consistency-wise, they're completely different. This is what you're going to be using to affix your image onto your bag. So you have your paint. You have a mixing cup to mix the colors when you're creating the color you want. And then you have a little tiny, deliciously scented essential oil, and you have the Q-tip that is going to be used to put the oil on, and this is what you'll mix your paint in. You have pre-cut painter's tape on, I guess, wax paper, all right, that you're going to be using when you lay out your design and you want a color block on your bag. You have a mixing stick, your paintbrush, and voila, you have a gorgeous canvas bag. And I just want to give you a sense of how big this is in terms of what you can get in that. All right, so it's a big one. All right, so I'm gonna actually set this aside for a minute. I don't need that first. I'm gonna put this aside. I do need this. I do need this. I need my paint to mix colors. And I need my tape when I go to block out, okay? You're gonna need a couple things that we can't put in the box for you. So you're gonna need an iron, and God love you, I hope you still have one, because I know I don't iron anymore. But a lot of people still have them in the back of the closet. Pull it out, you're gonna be ironing to affix or adhere. And you're going to need a credit card or a key card or something that you can use to push down. It's called burnishing, and it's going to make sure that your image transfers. It's what I think of when I think of little kids doing their temporary tattoos, and you have to press to make it all stick. Okay? In terms of your color wheel, all right, you've got a handy dandy cheat sheet here that's going to help you see your primary colors on the wheel and how you would choose to mix them to get the color that you want. Color blocking, the idea of laying out a background in colors, comes from the art world, and then it went to the fashion world. If you've ever seen anything by the United Colors of Benetton, it's that kind of color blocking. I think a lot of designers use it now. And that was the method that was used on that first bag I gave you. That was a clear color block. I went for something a little less clear. I went for something a little more homespun, so I have pieces of color, but not an actual square. So I'm going to take this color wheel and put it aside because I know what I'm going to be using to make the color that I want. I'm going to be making what I hope comes out to be a honeybee yellow for my honeybees. So I'm going to be using, instead of more than, a lot of primary colors, I'm going to be using basically yellow and red. And then I'm going to be adding however much black or white I need to get to the color that I want. So I'm going to set this aside and I'm going to grab my bag. This is a project, again, where once you have the basic idea, you're going to be able to do this on other bags or on aprons or anything you want. You're going to have a fair amount of the fabric medium, that's what this is called, to do another project. So I think, again, once you do one, you're going to be going down the hole of this imagery a lot. I know from previous projects that we did, like the twine baskets, that I'm kind of making too many baskets right now. I have to give some away. You're going to pull your handles out because you don't want them stuck in your bag. You want a smooth surface to work with. The reason you're putting the cardboard in there, and again, I'm going to just move a couple of these things to give me room to work with this nice big bag. You want nothing to bleed through. It doesn't bleed a lot, but we just want to be really careful, okay? And for my design, I would like to have just one color. You're going to use your tape to tape out exactly where you want the different colors. It's just like painting in your house. The painter's tape goes down to keep the paint from going where you don't want it to go. So when I look at my honeybee, all right, that is going to fit right about on that piece of cardboard in there. So I can use that cardboard as a little bit of the guide. If you're a really precise person, you might want to measure and use a ruler to get your square or rectangle or what stripes or whatever it is you're hoping to do exactly right. I'm going to eyeball it. And it's not always just because I'm lazy. I actually do like, I'm struggling for the right word, but I do like the idea of things being unfinished. I like the vintage look, the feeling that it's almost like those flour sack bags. I like that feel. So I went for edges that were not exact on my goat bag. We can do something a little more precise for the honeybees. So you're just using your eye, your cardboard, your ruler, whatever you want. And I am not wanting a huge thing of gold, but big enough that my image is going to fit in there. In the other bag I did, I actually had my transfer go up over the paint. And again, that's all choice. You can center it or you can have it overlap. And remember that what's inside is going to be where the paint goes. So you want to think when you look at this, is that the size I would like my rectangle or my square to be? I'm trying to decide if this is too big, but I think it's about right. And yes. And if it goes over the edges, I really like how that looks. My goat went over the edges and it looks really cool. So there's my square, my rectangle. And I'm going to set my bag aside. You have plenty of tape to make more than one square, more than one rectangle. I'm going to set that aside and I'm going to be mixing some paint. So here we go. I know I'm going to be using my primary yellow and red, and then I'll be adding white and black to get where I want to go in terms of color. I ended up with a color I really liked for the goat bag. but it took some playing around. This is really the kind of thing where you play with it. The worst that would happen is you'd say, okay, I'm going to do that again and get exactly where I want to go. When you are mixing your paint, you want to keep an eye on how much paint is in there, because when you add the fabric medium, you'd like to have equal parts of paint and medium. So I would not make way tons of, the paint you want, because you don't want to use your fabric medium if you don't need to, because you're going to want to have it for another project. All right, there's some yellow. Here I go. I'm very cautious. I can always add more. On the color wheel, this is right between the yellow and the red. So I'm actually just going to add a little bit more of each, because then I want this to get a little darker. Because I don't want it to look like French's mustard, which is what it looks like right now. Not just my shirt, though. All right. It's getting there. It's getting to be a very nice orange. And now I'm just going to add a dot of black. Okay. So I don't know how well you can see this on camera, but we've gone from what looks like, sunshine yellow or French's mustard, adding a tiny bit of red and a little bit of black, and then eventually, a little white. I got it to Dijon, which is what I'm looking for, is that honeybee kind of color. And a tip for your mixing is that you start with your lightest color, and then you add slowly the other colors so that you can see where you're getting. I'm pretty okay with this color for what I'm transferring, and I'm going to be adding now my fabric medium, and I'm coming up with a mixture that is half paint, half medium. And when I'm doing stuff like this, I often do confer with our artistic director, because he's got a sense of consistency. But that looks good to me. Remember that adding the fabric medium doesn't change the color. The color is the color. So what you're doing is adding basically a chemical that will affix your paint to your bag so that your bag will not bleed, wash, disappear your coloring. Does that look about right? Looks about right to me. So we're going to be painting. And again, I'm doing one big swath of color, but you're going to have the fun of designing how you'd like to color block your bag, because your transfer can go over the color blocking, which is very cool. All right, so I'm going to take my stir stick out. So we're ready to paint, and again, it's up to you how saturated, I guess would be the word, you want the paint to be. I again like to sort of give these broad brush strokes that give that vintage look, but you can make it, beautifully and completely painted. Ooh, it's nice. The bees are going to be coming. This reminds me of the very first project we did, when we did a buffalo plaid. And it was so tiny, if you were on board at that time. This is much easier. And just pointing out again that when I did my goat bag, I didn't put sides on. I actually wanted it to sort of, fly off the side. So it was ruler straight at the top, but not at the sides. And again, you can do whatever you want with that. And I'm using one color because I really like the image to just be on that color, because it just screams honeybees. But depending on what image you're using, because you have if you're doing apples, you might want to do red and green, but maybe not in the logical place. Like maybe it's just color blocked out with the colors you associate with that thing. All right, and there is the painting, and it has fabric medium in it, so that is crucial to this bag staying this bag for a long, long time. And this is where you're going to take a little break, have a cup of coffee or a glass of wine, because you need to let your paint dry 20 to 30 minutes before you go to your next step. All right, you want to make sure this paint is dry before you peel your borders. You will have been given 8 pieces of the painter's tape. Because I'm doing 1 block, I just used 4 for the color blocking, and I'll be using 4 to put my image on. If you're deciding to do something a little more intricate, you can rip your tape in half or whatever and use it however you need to. It's painter's tape, so you can always get more if you're going on to another project. But I'm getting ready to peel. Oh my goodness. God bless America. It's so simple and so effective. There we go. And there's my block. So I'll hold it up upside down to show you my block. And now we're going to do something that I have not done in 20 years. I'm going to pick up an iron, and we're ironing our color block for 3 to 5 minutes with a medium iron, heat-wise, a medium heat. And this is where all the chemical good stuff happens, because your fabric medium is going into your canvas. So I am going to do this for 3 to 5 minutes, and then we're going to go to the next really fun part. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, I don't have my iron anymore, and I don't want to go hang out with my neighbor to iron my bag. So there is an alternative. You can put the bag into your clothes dryer for 30 to 40 minutes on high, and that would be the equivalent of ironing it for 3 to 5. Okay? So we have our color block. It is chemically affixed, and now we're going to be putting our image. This is where it turns into a kid's tattoo, which I used to love to do with my kids. So I'm putting my honeybee onto my color block. I'm peeking to make sure the image is on the color. You're eyeballing, because you're going to tape this down upside down, and you're going to be covering the entire image with essential oil. And when you use the essential oil, it makes the paper translucent, and you can actually see that you've hit all the parts of your image. So you don't have to worry about that. You're not working blind. And when your tape is off your wax paper, this wax paper is something that you can put in your actual bag if you want to keep the oil or anything from going through. So I'm actually going to slide that in there. As I was driving out of town where I live today, I saw everybody headed to our local farmer's market. So we have a farmer's market in my town that is only open from May till December because it's outside. You really do need a bag like this to get everything in one place. So this is going to be a keeper. All right, you've got a Q-tip, you've got essential oil, which is lemon, and you're going to cover, oh look, it's on my fingers. You're going to cover the paper with the essential oil. I hope that's showing up on the video. I'll hold it up. You can see that your image, the line drawing that you have, that is your image, is going to show through. And you're basically just painting, like those little color books they used to have for kids that they could just use water onto the picture and then the colors would appear. If you have kids, you know what I'm talking about. And that's what this is. It's like a little magical image appears. So again, if you're ever working with kids, this is the part they should be allowed to do. This would be really great fun. And it smells wonderful. I have started using essential oils, not in a diffuser. I don't have a diffuser. I have what's called a diffuser bracelet, and you put the essential oil onto wooden beads and then it diffuses from your body heat throughout the day. So I'm a big fan of these oils. Oh, it's pretty. I buy my honey from a local farm, and they are just getting ready to open for the season. So you want to make sure that your image, if it has little tiny details, like for instance, this one has little tiny details of bees up and around it. You want to make sure you hit that because you want every part of your design to show through. You don't want to miss anything. I think I may have it. Just make sure there's no little plants on this side that I missed. Take a look at it, eyeball it, make sure it looks like everything got saturated. There we go. So this is, in my mind, a very sort of French-looking beehive. So it's a really fun image. These are the kind that used to be made out of woven baskets. Now they're mostly all wooden. And there we go. And now we wait. All right, so we're ready to actually push that image in. So we're going to take all this fun stuff that was in here, keeping liquids from seeping out. And you only do this after you've waited 3 to 5 minutes for your essential oil to really soak in. So again, 3 to 5 minutes waiting for the oil to soak in. Take all this stuff out, and then you're ready to use whatever you're going to use to burnish. This is a scraper from the kitchen. You can use your credit card, a key card, anything with an edge. And the key is to do it more than you think you should have to. All right, so I'm going to start in a corner, and I'm going to just start doing this. You're going to do it as long as you think you need to, and then you're going to do it again. And one of the things that you can do after you've done this for a length of time is just take a peek. So stay with me because I don't want to lose my image. I'm very excited about this. But when I reach the point where I think I'd like to look, I'm going to lift a corner of my tape and just see if some of this image is coming out, and then I'll know where I stand. So that to me is one. You probably need to do it 2 or 3 more times. And I'm sorry, I know it's boring to watch me do this. But I'm going to take a teeny tiny peek. When you do this, oh, it's in there. It's in there. I'm going to do it a little bit more, but it's definitely coming through. You want to make sure you put it down where you pulled it from so that you don't transfer the image. in two different spots, which would be blurry. And here is the moment of truth. I'm going to peel my tape and my image off. Oh, hello! Oh, I love it. There is my beehive in my golden color block. Oh my gosh, I'm very excited about this. And I know that there is a chance I would buy something that would spill in here, or at some point I might need to wash my bag. So you want to look at your instructions, but it does say that you can cold water wash this and drip dry. Let it dry without putting it in a dryer. And this should last you forever. I know that my next project will be this same process on an apron. I love aprons, and I just think the imagery, the number of images you're getting, you're not going to want to stop with this one project. So remember, you have a fair amount of fabric medium if you want to do some more. So here is your custom beach, farmer's market, whatever you want to use it for. For all I know, you're putting laundry in it and taking it to a laundromat. But I think you're going to love this, and I hope you have lots of fun, because your whole house is going to smell like lemon. Thanks.